Hi, this is Chris. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about magic loop. I'm working my way across. If you can see, I have a long 40-inch cable. I have approximately half my stitches on one side and half on my other side. I have these two wings. And the reason you want the long cables is because you don't want to put any unnecessary stress on your corners. See how they just want to like go right close to each other? Okay, so you're not putting any stress. If you use a cable that is short and you go like this, it's going to see how it wants to stretch this here. So you want to have a very long cable. So usually I use a 40-inch cable for like my socks, my sleeves, and most everything else that I'm doing. So I'm going to knit to the end of the row, or the side. Let me rephrase that. And there we go. Now I've done this side, so now I've got to switch sides. So I'm going to turn the work around. Okay. Now, I always like to pull this one in first. I pull the front one in first, at least to that point, before I pull the other one out, because I don't want to pull it. If I pull this one out first, I can actually lose my wing. I call these wings because they look like butterfly wings. Okay. Now, sometimes people get confused, like which way are they going? Your yarn will always be attached to the back stitches, and you're going to pull them forward to knit to the front. So if you think about it, if you were knitting in the round, let me see if I can, you would go from here to here. But now this is the last stitch, so it's over here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go and I'm going to knit across. All right, get my fingers working for English method. Okay, and now I'm going to work across. And I got that little wing on both sides. Kind of want to keep them there as much as I can. I mean, it's not a disaster if you lose them, but you have to set them back up again. It's easier if you don't. And I'm going to knit across. And I'll be right back when I get to the other edge. Okay, I got my last one, and I'm putting it through. So my next one I want to do is on this side here. So I'm going to turn my work. All right, rotate it more than turn, because we're still knitting on the right side. You can always see which side, like you could tell this is the right side. This is the stockinette side. This is the, all right. I don't want to just pull this one out that I just worked with, because that would make it too small. I want to push this one in at least to this point. So I made this one wing really big so that when I pull back, I'm not taking it totally out. And like I said before, you're always pulling, the yarn is attached to the stitches in the back, and you're pulling it forward to the front. Now, on this project, we're knitting with a big needle and the cable. There's a big difference between the two, so you don't want to pull here too tight. Okay, you don't want to make the stitches too tight there. If you're doing socks where the needle's much smaller, then you do it. Okay, so then I'm just knitting. Now this time I'm knitting my continental, so I'm a little more coordinated, as you can see, because I do this a lot more. And that is it. Now, sometimes what happens is people will flip their work inside out, or they forget which direction they're going. If you're starting something new like this and you flip it inside out, I'll show you. And sometimes it's hard, but that one clue of knowing where that yarn comes from one side to the other is really the big difference maker. All right, so I'm going to get to the end of this side. Okay, so let's say I put my needles down, I pick it up, and I flip it by accident. And sometimes you can be in ribbing, so you can't even tell which one's the right side and the wrong side. Okay, so I know the yarn has to come from the back, not from the front. If I did this, I would just be knitting straight across. So I know it has to be in the back. Well, I don't want it in the back on this side. I want it in the back over here. So if I flip this inside out, back to the right way, now that yarn is positioned in the right location. So making sure that you're pulling your yarn from the back when you're switching sides from back here to the other side. Again, I push this in first, then I pull this out, and then I finish pushing this in. All right, I hope this helps you with Magic Loop. If you have any other questions, give me a call. Happy knitting.